Thank you all for coming and watching. I am Brandon. Let's continue with the 9Q series. Okay, so the focus for this one again is going to be to keep our groups nice and strong. This is normally not that good because White's corner area gets a little too big and he's not really getting too much on this side. We're making plenty on the side here, so we're just going to keep growing this area. And because it's so open, we can still invade here if we need to. Okay, normally you wouldn't want to be this forceful with it. You'd want to just keep going. Because when you play a move like this, you're just making White even more solid and making more points for him. And then also, this was a lot harder to do if he just plays over here, because I would have to attach. Not really sure what this move's for, because it lets me Atari here now. And now I have all these cutting points, but I can't let this zone get cut off because then he's building this area. So we'll defend this cutting point, and if he cuts here, we have plenty to run to, and we're now strong in here. And this group is a bit weak. If we try to be too aggressive and like try to kill this, then we could get weak in the center, and don't really want that. Like, cause here there's a ladder here, so he can cut. So we kind of want to defend this way first, so that he doesn't play here and cut us off. Okay, I'm just gonna extend, keep it nice and strong, and just keep extending. We don't want to allow him to cut too easily. And normally after you extend 4 times, it's safe to Hane. Because with 2 or 3, when they Hane, there's liberty issues. And with 4, it's almost gone. So now we can Hane here. So we're building some points here. We have a nice wall facing his stones that are normally better for influence. And I'm just going to go ahead and take points here. And I should be able to do it in Sente, because this cut here doesn't really do much because I still live in the corner. And because this is pretty solid, I don't have to really worry about it being attacked for now. I'm going to go ahead and take some more points here and then force him to live small. Okay. So here, White made a lot of points here. White got the corner, has a wall on the outside, and Sente. And this still isn't 100% alive. It shouldn't die, but later it could get into trouble. So we have this wall here, so we want to try and build something here. And if he jumps in, then we can use this wall to attack. We don't want to just back off and play on the 3rd line, because then this wall is not really being as useful. So we want to try and take as much as we can. And doing something like this, he just Hanes here and extends. It's a lot of points, but I don't feel like that's good enough here. So I think I'll just take the corner, get some more points in the corner, and I should... well, he should block here. I connect, and then he can probably force down here, and then it's not really Sente, because the corner's already alive. And later I could play over here to build it. Since he played this way, I get to reduce his other side. That was his biggest area to make points. And if he tries to do something over here because of this wall, I can fight back. And now you can kind of see that this stone isn't really helping fix his shape here. Like, there's still this peep here. And I got to make some points in the corner, which is always nice. So he has this weak group here. I can invade this corner and take points. Because now that he has this, I wouldn't call it strength, but he has a group of stones here. I could also try to make some points here before he pincers. All 3 probably work pretty well. I would want to lean towards attacking this, but it's a little bit too hard to attack right now. Because if I jump all the way in, he runs out. Then I have to live on the top. And who knows, this cut might become an issue. If I play at the bottom and he invades, that's okay, because then I can use this wall to attack and reduce anything that he might go for in the center. Playing in the corner is just points, and also reducing anything over here, which is not that big anyway because of this. I'm not really sure which is biggest. I think it probably just depends on maybe style. Like, if you like attacking, you can go after this. if you want to try and build this area. But I think I prefer just points, so I think I'm just going to go for the corner. Okay, and this is the wrong direction because it's open down here, so any points that he tries to make here, it's easily reduced with a move here. And it's also giving white a very big corner. Yeah, he should at least Hane here, and then I can Hane too, and then he has to kind of defend, then I fix my cuts, and then he can extend. But just extending here and giving me this corner is, it feels very nice. So I'm willing to just keep pushing here. Okay, so there's a cut here, my corner's fine. Attacking this is not as valuable anymore because there's a cut which is can attack the whole thing or cut off a stone. So I think now this area is the biggest. And playing a move down here also kind of helps prevent something in the center, because if he were to play something here and I tried to run out, which probably wouldn't be very good, he would be building some stones here to help build this, but because of this wall here, it's kind of hard for him to build anything. I could probably be a bit more greedy and try to take even more with this, but I think this is fine for now. And there's still some weaknesses over here that he can probably invade and live, but I think it's okay. And I want to jump into the center so that he doesn't build too much here. I'm just going to keep pushing because the farther I go, the more I'm reducing. And then he's still open here and here. So now if he goes here, I can Hane because it's four in a row instead of 3. So it has pretty good liberties. I can still jump in on this side and Hane here and play here. I like this one best because it's making this corner nice and solid. Kind of gets rid of a 3-3 or something over here to reduce it. And then I still get Sente to come back over here and reduce this a bit more. I think I'll just come back over here and extend a bit more because I'm reducing both this area and this area at the same time. And then he's not really making too many points over here. So now he has this area, which is kind of small. I'm liking this move a little bit better because I'm reducing his area while growing my area. Even though it's not making too many points, it's making more than what black is making. Okay, so now he defends that area. I grew this a little bit, so now I can come back over here, which is the next biggest area. And if you can't attach here, there's really no point in trying to push here and then defend. So you might as well just Tanuki and leave it for later, unless you're about to die or something, but you should have plenty of ice base here. So there's some weaknesses here, where he can threaten to connect, so I'd have to block, and then he can peep, and he might be able to live in this corner. There's some weaknesses over here. This is probably the biggest weakness, I would say, so I think I should do something to help defend that. And I don't really have a good way to do it, so I kind of just have to play something. Okay, so he probably shouldn't respond to this. He probably should have played something bigger, like maybe this over here. Or even like something like this would have been bigger, or here. I think hunting here and connecting helps with this. So when he goes here and I connect and he goes here, I can push through and try to reduce eye shape. And it's also a pretty big endgame. He goes here, and I do have this cutting point I have to worry about, so I can connect. So again, this is just a forcing move that isn't really needed because it just helps me fix my own shape. Okay, he plays this one. He wasn't really going to make any points here, but this doesn't really, I wasn't going to make any points here either. So this one was kind of small. Playing this Hane here is definitely bigger. But this group is stronger and safer than this one. So I think I will Hane and connect to make this one a little bit stronger. Even though it's pretty safe the way it is. Okay, and he had, if he Hane'd here and I connected and he went here, there was some weakness here, but not much. But because he's just going to let me connect here, now there's this Atari, which hopefully he sees it. I should probably play a move like this to defend it. Okay, good. And, okay, so he gave me Sente again and some more points. So the next biggest in-game move that I can see would be this Hane here. So he's threatening to throw in here, and then if I capture, he can go here. And that's pretty big. I'll go ahead and defend that. This one, though, I'm not sure if that's big enough. I still have some Aji over here, so I'll go ahead and fix that. And capturing here has no effect on this group anymore. But yeah, he played calm like the other guy. I think the last one was probably a little bit stronger. Guess he he didn't play as many slow moves, and his moves worked together a little bit more. But you can see here that he worked really hard to get influence, and then he switched to I don't even know if he's really switched to anything, but he didn't really get what he wanted. Okay, so I got some weakness here, so I'll go ahead and defend that. Then the next biggest in game is probably going to be somewhere around here. Or maybe just taking points here, I'm not really sure. Again, in game is not my strong point, if I have one. Okay, so I'll just peep here. I think we pretty much covered all the corners, which you want to go to the corners and sides before the center most of the time. He still has some weaknesses over here, so like if I go here and then I get this move, he has to worry a little bit, but not much. Again, he has 4 in a row, so it's a lot safer than if it was 3 or 2. Okay, let's do a quick review of the game. I made quite a few mistakes, as well as my opponent. This one obviously is one of the first mistakes. It gives white too much in the corner and doesn't really threaten it too much. This move probably isn't the biggest move. Playing in this corner would be a bit bigger. And if Black can't really do anything here because I could just cut and be more aggressive because I'm okay in the corner. This one's probably a bit bad. He played this one when really he should probably just be doing something like this or playing a bigger move like taking a corner or here. And yeah, for sure should just go here. Then I fix my weak point and then he can turn. And now you can see he's building a little bit, so I'd probably have to do something about that soon. Or I can just take the corner and then my area is just as big, so I don't have to be too jealous of it. This move I think is probably actually was a mistake. I should just connect here. And if he cuts, again, I can just keep pushing, and this area is pretty big. I can either come back here and defend, or I can come and take this corner. And then I can still reduce it with this, or maybe even potentially live. But I don't really need to live here, because my area should be just as big or bigger, and I have Sensei to gain some more points. But instead I did this one, which kind of I had to worry about it for most of the game because there was some cutting points and weaknesses in it, so this move didn't turn out too good. And then I made it worse with my my next move. I played here. This move's better. So if it turns out similar where he just pushes and I keep extending, now if he cuts here, I can net it or ladder it. Or if he tries to push here and cut, I can go here and take these stones. So better shape here. This was bad shape. And he played the correct move here to punish it. And pretty much at any point after he got this move or this move, he pretty much can play this move in Sente. Because my corner is actually quite weak, so I'd have to spend a move to defend it somehow. Which I guess I didn't really notice, so that's another mistake of mine. So at some point I needed to try to play here, but I didn't really have time for it because I had to worry about my weak group here, which is another reason why this move is bad. but we both kind of missed that for a while. So I kept missing the bigger moves. So like instead of here, I should have been playing here to make this group stronger. Then I finally get to this point, but it was late. Here in the game, we saw that I couldn't really use my wall very effectively, so I should have just played at A, which is just taking points, and probably the biggest move on the board. Instead, I did this one. And at this point, I had this weakness at A, so I probably should have played here right away. Because if I don't, if I try to save all of this, I can't really, because there's like this big weakness here, and then the corner is pretty weak and might die, and I have to extend for a very long time. And if I do this one, which is a little bit better, he can still cut here. And if I defend my corner, he can then play a move around here in Sente to where I have to defend, and then he can capture this stone in a pretty nice way. And now you can see all my stones here are kind of pointless, and then there's still a cut here that I have to worry about. And here he should just cut here. So if I do this move, he defends, I defend, and then he has Sente come over here, try to defend this group, or do this thing over here. He can also try and capture here. And the number, you don't want to let him capture it too easy, so you normally want to extend at least once, and he has to block here. Then I can Atari and capture. He does get a little bit more points here, and maybe some points in the corner, but it's not for sure yet. But this group is pretty strong, and then he has this weak group. So I think this would be good for white, but probably better than the game. He would just probably have to defend right away. In the game, I think he just gave me too many points. Then I finally come back over here and defend. And again, I was a little bit too greedy. There's this weakness here, and then there's still this move here. So I should probably be more passive and just play solid here. Yeah, this move was just too slow. Maybe it was a misclick or something, but if he's going to play over here, he should be a bit more aggressive with it. Or he can play over here. Again, there's still this move. Playing over here is pretty much anything is bigger than anything in the center right now. And so I just play here, which again, I probably, if it's not big enough for him to play there, it's probably not big enough for me to play there. So I should be playing something like this first, or this. This move is probably the biggest move if I'm not going to cut. I played this move, which again was a mistake. Again, I kind of underestimated how weak I am. When I play here, he can just descend here, and if I Tanuki and play in his area, he can play here. I have to defend, and then this gets kind of dangerous. I either lose a bunch of points or my group dies, which is probably worth more than what I destroyed over here. And then there's that risk of it dying, so it's like you don't want to risk something dying for just a few points, especially if you're ahead. But I kind of got away with some stuff. But I think that it's I think it was a pretty interesting game. Again, we just had that one 9Q that was just hyper aggressive and wanted to cut and fight everywhere, but the last two 9Qs were very passive and were not that aggressive, which I think is kind of interesting because I would think on Fox they would be more they would all be more aggressive, but I don't know. We'll see what happens again next week. And thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something. And I'll see you again next Sunday.